So for Parshas Tetzaveh, rather than speaking about the Parsha itself, since this is the Shabbos before Purim, and we're all in the Purim spirit, and we want to walk away with some kind of machshava of what Purim represents. So the halacha is, and that's the way in Anoik, I think of most of Klal Yisrael. This is brought lahalacha o k'shesayim hakol asher heini, which means after you say the tefillah of Asher Heini, which is right after the Megillah, then we sing Sheishanas Yaakov. So it says over there, Yoimar lo hidiya shekol kivecha lo yivoshiv lo yikomu lo netzach kol hachaisim bach. Lo hidiya, that one of the messages of Purim is lo hidiya, to let us know. Shekol kivecha, those that have put your faith in you, their hope in you, lo yivoshiv lo yikomu lo netzach, they will never be embarrassed. Kol hachaisim bach, those who depend on you, the Ribbon Shalom. And what that sentence is saying is lohidia. That one of the messages of Purim, of which there are many, is lohidia shekol kivecha lo yivoshu. If you put your faith and hope in the Ribbon Shalom, lo yivoshu lo yikomu lo netzach kol hachaisim bach. And that's ultimately who we have to depend on, and not on Bnei Adam, and not on other types of interventions. We have to go ahead and put our hope and our trust in the Ribbon Shalom, and He will do what he knows to be good, and that's what we have to depend on. And this has application in many areas of life. Where do you see this in the Megillah? So one of the places I see this, and I usually see this in the Megillah, is to what I always think is, to me, the most moving part of the Megillah. When Mordechai asked Esther HaMalka to go ahead and to plead on behalf of her people and intervene with Achashverosh that he should rescind the decree of Lahash Milar al-Abed, so he sees that Esther is hesitant. So there were two approaches that how Mordechai could react. He sees she's hesitant. So on the one hand, he could say, "Listen here, Esther, you got to do this, because if you don't do this, then we're all going to go down the drain, and we're counting on you. And without you, there is no hope. And therefore, you have to do this. You have no choice in the matter." That's one approach. That's not the approach that Mordechai takes. The approach that Mordechai takes is, Esther, im tacharish lois azais, relch v'hatzala yamod la'yehudi mimokom acher v'hatu be'savich tavedu. Esther, okay, this is your moment. If you take it, you and your family will be remembered forever. But if you don't, God has His ways, and there'll be somebody else who will save the Jewish people. And it won't be Megillas Esther. It'll be Megillas Rus, or Megillas Rachel, or Megillas Miriam, or Megillas Mordechai, or Megillas somebody else. Because the Ribbon Shalom has His ways. He's put you in this place. This is your calling. But don't think that it's you or nobody. Ultimately, we put our faith in the Ribbon Shalom. Kol kevecha lo yivoshiv lo yikomu lo netzach. The people that have put their faith in you, kol hachaisim bach lo yivoshiv, will never be embarrassed, lo yikomu lo netzach kol hachaisim bach. That is part of the message of Purim. And it comes into play very often in life. So we have to realize that God runs the world, and we have to put our faith in Him. Maybe you've heard this story before, but Rabbi Belsky, Zichron Levracha, was Rashiv in Tarvadas, and he was part of the big Paisik for the OU in the Kashrus division. So he had a very, very serious heart issue one night. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a ruptured aorta or something like that, something really, really, really serious. And they rushed him to Maimonides Hospital in Brooklyn, New York, and they had to do surgery on him. So Rabbi Belsky is a famous person, and has many talmidim, etc. And the Askanim who were involved there with Rabbi Belsky, it's not a simple matter. They came to the hospital and they wanted to transfer Rabbi Belsky to some New York City hospital rather than the local Maimonides in Borough Park. And they had already called a surgeon to perform the surgery. And Rabbi Belsky said, no, he's not going to a Manhattan hospital. They called this guy. This guy's ready to do the surgery, to go ahead and to say, well, sorry, we want somebody better, would be an insult to him. This is a non-Jewish surgeon. And if the Rebbeinu Shalom wants me to live, he'll be the shliach, and if he won't, then no shliach will be able to help me. V'kachava, he performed the surgery. It was a successful surgery, and Rabbi Belsky lived. That is because he put his faith in the Rebbeinu Shalom. Now, this is not on the same darga that Rabbi Belsky's story, and I don't know if I would be able to act like that in other circumstances. But several years ago, actually, in Aseret Yemei Tshuva, I passed out. I was at home, passed out. My son and wife took me to the hospital. It turned out I needed a pacemaker. So they asked me, who's your cardiologist? I said, I have no cardiologist. Baruch Hashem, I have not needed one. So one of the staff of the surgeons was called, cardiologist was called in to put in the pacemaker. Now again, a pacemaker is not a ruptured aorta, but the fellow's name is A.J. Sudan, Soodan, Ajay. Fellow from India. Anyway, he was going to go ahead and put in the pacemaker. Now, under normal circumstances, if I had to go pick a cardiologist, so I'd go ahead and ask around, and ask my doctor, ask other people, who's the top guy? I don't think they would have chosen A.J. Sudan. But I said to myself, the Rebbeinu put me here. He put this guy. He chose this guy. So even though I'm not thrilled today I see him, every 6 months or so. I'm not thrilled with him. He seems like a competent doctor, but he would not have been my choice. But I said, this is the surgeon that Rebbeinu chose for me, and I'm going to stick with him because I felt that this was hashgacha. Now, this is not the same league as Rabbi Belsky, but I think it's the same concept. I try to have my faith in the Rebbeinu Shalom and rely on him to what he decides. And when people ask me, how do you pick him? I said, I didn't pick him. The Rebbeinu Shalom did. And that's good enough for me.